All right, so let us take some calls. We have a bunch of interesting calls out here. Let me first dispose of one call that probably belongs on a Carolla Drew podcast because it's not really a Simone question, but one I can dispense with quickly. Christian, 25 Fresno. Christian?
Yeah, you there?
I'm here. What do you got?
Hello?
You hear us?
Yeah, you guys are kind of faint, but that's all right.
All right, because I need you to hear me, though, because I got some info for you. Go ahead. Give us your question.
All right. So on Carolla's podcast, you guys were discussing toxins the other day, and it made me want to call in because my wife and I are having this argument week after week of essentially like, we'll buy pills, we'll buy sunscreen, we'll buy soap, and then she'll go, oh, this has toxins in it. And I kind of flip out. She gets upset, and I'm not really sure, like, I don't know if that's real. I'm just thinking cash is coming out of my pocket in a sense,
Well, Christian, let's try to reason with her a little bit. Number one, in this litigious society where people get sued and are borne the responsibility for anything that happens to anybody, do you think companies could get by with exposing people to toxins without getting sued? So there's that, right?
Well, sure, but then there's she listens to Jillian Michaels' podcast, and she talks all about toxins.
All right, so here's the other way you do this is, honey, please show me the chemical formula of a toxin. You don't have to even write it down. Just show me somewhere a publication that gives me the chemical formula of a toxin. Because unless I understand the chemistry of this thing, how can we understand what it's doing to your body? Yeah. And then help me understand. Show me, just write the pathway, the chemical pathway, whereby this toxin is removed from the body by whatever else it is you're doing. And here's what you'll get from those people: empty set. Because there's no such. If there's a toxin, show me the chemical formula of that toxin. Give me the chemical formula. The body is an extremely complex biochemical process, and you can show the biology of everything that happens in the body. So if there's something that happens negatively, let's look at the chemical formula. Let's look at the pathway whereby it damages, and let's look at the pathway whereby it's removed from the body. And you'll get none of that.
Right.
You'll get none of it.
So if sunscreen, for instance, there's nothing in sunscreen that's going to be like, oh, you're going to get cancer because you put this specific sunscreen on. Absolutely
not. And it's ridiculous. And so here's the deal. Listen, if you live in Southern California, you're going to get certain kinds of cancer. And by the way, this is the craziness of people. They are not biologically trained, which really I blame the educational system. There are many different kinds of skin cancers, Christian. Which skin cancer is she afraid of getting? Some you can protect yourself from, some you can't.
Yeah.
And also, if you're not, sorry, Christian, hey, it's Simone here. If you're not going to wear sunscreen, then you're going to put yourself in danger.
Stay out of the sun. You better stay out of the sun. And bottom line, stay out of the sun. If she's worried about toxins and sunscreen, cool, stay out of the sun. That's the best thing you can do to prevent skin cancer.
And I don't want to trivialize this, Christian, but there's part of me that's thinking your wife needs like a good foot rub or something, because it's like this wonderful power struggle going on between you two right now.
Okay, so let's break Christian down a little bit.
It's partly listening to Carolla. I think he's brainwashed me a little bit.
Well, the last thing you want to do. I wish Lynette were still here. His wife was here a minute ago. I'm sure you don't want to adopt the Carolla husband mentality. She will vouch for that. It's not gratifying to your female partner.
Yes.
Simone is really good at helping people understand women, and that's a lot of what we do is helping. Yeah. And so just based on her instinct about the conflict that you guys are having, she's saying, step out of this and just give her a foot rub. Right?
Give her a foot rub and say, I really hear you. You're right. Yes.
No. We can't do that as a man. You cannot do that. Well, but you can say, I really hear you. It must be very uncomfortable worrying about all these things. Let me give you a foot rub. Because we can't be wrong.
Tell me about your day. Just tell me something special about you. You know,
that's what
what she needs.
That's what he needs to say.
Yeah.
See,
all right,
Christian,
I can get on that.
Well, it's harder than you think, my friend. So let's talk about that for a second, because this idea that women want to talk about men want to just be appreciated.
Yeah.
Like, you did a good job today. Well done. Let me give you something. Let's go do something. Women need to talk.
Women
it's very confusing.
really need to talk. It's interesting because when women talk about their feelings, they will actually produce oxytocin. So it actually calms them. Like stroking a dog, it has that calming effect.
Well, remember now, when you say that to a male, males don't really experience what oxytocin does because testosterone blocks that. So we like dopamine more. We like the arousal stuff.
Yeah.
And so what do you mean? Oxytocin, that sounds boring. boring. It sounds uncomfortable.
And also, if you try to extract feelings out of a man when they're not ready, if you fire them up to a heart monitor, actually you can see that their blood pressure will increase. It can actually stress them out. And this is what's really, really difficult for women, because they think if a man isn't talking about feelings, that he doesn't love her and appreciate her. When actually, if you force your man to talk about feelings when he's not ready, then it can stress him out.
You keep saying it can. I would say it always does.
I'm nice.
It always, if a guy is not ready and you start pushing on feelings, that's very uncomfortable. And naturally, it's a stress response.
And it's interesting because in therapy, I have seen men do want to talk about their feelings.
Hold on. Be careful. They want...
Sometimes.
Men need to talk about their feelings, feel better when they talk about their feelings, but don't want to talk about their feelings.
Because they haven't necessarily been taught. Because from a young age, it's like, come on, big boys don't cry. And I tell you something, when a man sits there and cries and gets in touch with his feelings, wow, his power increases.
Yes.
He feels full.
Right. Well, that's something that men miss. And I think that's a cultural thing, is that feelings are power. And connecting to self is power. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a misunderstanding of showing feelings, being vulnerable versus being connected to feelings all the time.
Yeah, and that is really beautifully put, because I always say that actually if you can be vulnerable, that is a huge strength in itself, because you're letting yourself go. You're not scared of your feelings. Interestingly, a lot of men, the way to get them through the door, and this is the area I work in sex therapy, if there are unrepressed feelings, it can exhibit in a sexual way, in some kind of sexual dysfunction. Then they get through the door. The penis brings them through the door, and through that...
The penis dysfunction, be fair.
The penis dysfunction, yes. If the penis works, then they're happy.
Someone with the penis, that gets guys' attention.
Yeah, exactly. And
crazy.
Then they really talk about their feelings, and that is what gives them the breakthrough. And then everything works downstairs.
All right, let's get to some more calls.